welcome. Today we are in Sebastian, Florida, and we are going to be doing this great trail system that the Florida Department of Historical Resources has created, and it has several different stops that we are going to go on today. The first one that we are at today is Archie Smith's Fish House. It was built in 1926. It has been operational, I believe it said until the 2000s. Sorry, here I'm checking all my notes. Yes, it was operational until 2004 when Hurricane Francis and Jean came through and caused some substantial damage. The fish house also had an ice house along with it. It was a main staple here for the community. This was a fishing village, so they had all the fishermen coming in from the Atlantic Ocean and also from the Indian River. So right here we can see the Indian River behind us, and of course the Atlantic Ocean is on the other side of the barrier island right there. So you guys, we're gonna keep looking around, and I hope you guys enjoy today.
Anybody who has studied World War II knows that Americans as a whole came together to do whatever they could in the war effort, and the Archie Smith Fish House was definitely part of that as well. So between the years of 1942 and 1945, the house actually became part of the National Air Warning System. So an observation room was actually constructed on the top of the roof, and volunteers from the community would come and they would man the room. They would monitor any aircraft movement, they would keep an eye on the water, and they would report to authorities if they observed anything going on. Now, sadly, this great part of American history with this adorable fish house, it's actually not the original building. So the original fish house was destroyed in a fire in 1979, but the owners rebuilt it to the exact original design as the first one. So what we are looking at is the replica of the building, but it is still great to see how this community has made sure to keep it alive. So it was added to the National Historic Registry in 1994, and this community here in the Indian River County has made sure to keep this under conservation to help protect not only the building and the land, but also the seagrass beds around, which helps our manatees that are in the lagoon. So they're definitely making sure that not just a building is protected, but also the lagoon surrounding the building. What is great about the setup of this historical trail is these displays that they have at each one of the locations. So there's a map of the area and all the stops that we'll be going to. There's also some historical information about the location that you are currently at. And they do also have a flyer at each location that you can pick up so that you can learn some more historical information about the trail. As we continue on our journey today, I thought we'd just stop here for a second, enjoy the views of the Indian River, and talk a little bit about Sebastian. So this area was actually settled in the 1870s, and as a fishing village, it was important for them to continue improving commerce and fishing. So the pioneers decided in 1886 to attempt to open a link between the ocean and the river. Unfortunately, they were not successful in this attempt. Well, in 1895, they were finally successful in opening a channel, but unfortunately a storm came through and filled it back in with sand. Now in 1921 they were able to reopen the canal, but it closed again due to some erosion. Well, finally some jetties were constructed and it helped to protect the canal, so now it is permanently open.
So our next stop on this trail that we are doing today is the Paul Krogel, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, homestead. So it looks like it is actually closed. It's a private drive. So I'm not sure if it's a place that you can come visit, but they do have a beautiful parking lot. So maybe they are just restoring it right now. But it is owned by the county. It does say, they have a sign right here. It says it was purchased by the Indian River County with preservation. Paul was originally from Germany. He arrived in Sebastian in 1881 and he homesteaded here along the banks of the lagoon of the Indian River, which overlooked the Pelican Island, which we cannot really see. This whole area is blocked off, but back there will be Baker's Bluff, which is also a mark on this trail that we are doing, but everything is blocked off. But it is a very cool looking area. I wish we could get back here and see more of it. You can kind of see a nice little dirt road that goes back to the water back there. So it looks like here what we have is the improvement that the county is actually working on, and all of their documentation that they're doing. Some of these date back to 2021. So it'll be interesting to see. We're gonna try going down this little side road over here and see if we can get back further, because there is Barker's Bluff that you can see on the map that it says is part of this area. So we're gonna go check that out.
And as you can see, sadly, this area is blocked off as well.
We have made it over here to Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge. It was established in 1903 by President Theodore Roosevelt as part of his program to create national parks and protect some of our natural resources that we have here, and he didn't want things to get destroyed by too much building up of land and everything. So let's take a journey down the historical jungle trail and see what they have here for us to see.
We just started out on the jungle trail, and I have to say it is absolutely gorgeous out here. Definitely going to recommend that when you guys come, roll down those windows, soak in the beach breeze, play some nice tunes, and just enjoy this greatly maintained dirt road. It is so beautiful out here. So our first stop on the trail is going to be the Centennial Trail. There's actually a couple different trailheads here, but we're just going to do the short one. Centennial Trail is less than a mile long since we're hitting some other spots. Now it's pretty cool. They actually have a strangler fig here, and we've actually seen a couple different other trees that are like this around Florida. There's actually a really famous one in St. Augustine, and basically these two trees have learned to grow with each other and survive. I really like all the signage that they have going on here. So they give you all kinds of information about the refuge itself, the birds that they're protecting, the land itself that they're protecting, and then they have the map of the grounds itself. So like I said, the trail that we're doing today is just a small one, but they do have two other loops. They are both 3 miles long, so you guys can check those out as well. But if you're like us and you just want a little stroll, just to stretch those legs, I recommend the Centennial Trail. It is gorgeous out here. It's really hard to beat some of these amazing Florida days when the sun is shining, the sea breeze is blowing your hair, and you see these amazing blue skies. It's hard to beat the Florida weather when it is absolutely gorgeous like this. When Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge was first established, it was the nation's first refuge. And President Roosevelt, well, he made Paul the first warden. It was known that he was a supporter of protecting the birds, and he was even known to fire off warning shots against hunters who were potentially trying to kill the birds. I mean, his homestead was right across the water, so that he would have the perfect view of Pelican Island from off the bluff of his house. Check this out, guys. We actually found a time capsule here on the Centennial Trail. So it looks like it was dedicated on March 13th, 2004, and they are planning on opening it on March 14th, 2103. One of the things that makes this trail so gorgeous is the fact that the scenery is constantly changing. We go from mangroves to oak trees, to citrus groves, to Australian pine. It is constantly changing at every turn. You have a different scenery, and that is actually how the locals named this trail. So its official name, which was created in 1941, is Peninsula Road, but the locals called it Jungle Trail. As we have traveled further south down the Jungle Trail, we've opened up the landscape again, and now we have some picture-perfect views of the lagoon. And I will say that we are no longer on the Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge land anymore, and it is a lot busier down here. So you have a lot of condos, there's people out here exercising, walking, riding their bikes. So if you are doing this trail by car, definitely be careful. We have made it over to the Captain Forrester Hammock Preserve. Now we can see right here we have some old remnants of the homestead that was here. Now this homestead was of Captain Frank Forrester. Now he was a German-born immigrant who ran away at an early age. It's reported that he sailed all around the world, and he ended up here on the Indian River and acquired some land right here on the island. Now, when he built his first home, he also established the first post office, which was named Orchid. He was also a citrus grower. So it said that he started his grove between 1884 and 86. Now, with that great freeze in 1894 and 1895, he did lose a lot of his crop. But he quickly replanted along with some winter vegetables, which he sold to the Flagler Railroad and others. It is said that Forrester had the best citrus available out of everybody on the island. So we hopped out of the car and we walked over here to the Jones Pier area. Now it's under construction like a lot of the other stuff here, but we're still going to check things out. So it looks like they're actually building a whole Jones Pier conservation area right now, which is so cool. They are preserving some of these old buildings here. It'd be nice to come back and visit once they are done. They have a huge parking lot area. The water is absolutely gorgeous on the other side of the lagoon. There's another building. So cool. So the Jones family, just like many of the other settlers here on the island, came in the early 1890s. Like a lot of settlers that came to Florida, they were citrus growers. So he was famous for having the pier, and you could buy some citrus and different items from him. It's a 2-bedroom house. Gorgeous. Right here on the Jungle Trail. Be nice to see once it's finished. So we are at one of our last stops on the trail, and where we are is the Bridge Tender Site. So back until the 1920s, there was only 2 ways to cross the Indian River Lagoon in what is now known as Indian River County. And this is an area that had one of the tender sites for the bridge that crossed right over here. So this island that we see across the way, there's Pine Island, and then there's Hole in the Wall Island, which is kind of a cute little name. But you see some old wood pilings here. The sun is bright because the sunset's gonna happen soon. So if you see the map right here that I've been using today, we turn a little bit. So we're at Site 8 And Site 9 is the last one. There's Pine Island and Hole in the Wall Island. And so the bridge crossed right across all that. You can see the old bridge there. Not sure if the bridge is there or not when we go to Site 9, but we're definitely going to check it out. So it says here on our trusty little map that the bridge opened in 1924 and it provided access to the Jungle Trail that we have been enjoying this afternoon. So the tender bridge operator, his wife and children lived in a small house on the island right next to the Winter Beach Bridge. His job was used to hand crank open the bridge to let cars over or boats to sail by. It's kind of cool. It's a nice little park at the end of the trail. There is some private houses that you have to drive down past to get to this area. But it's very nice. All the mangroves, very old Florida feeling. So there was a dispute on who was the first car to cross the bridge. So it was either Dr. David Rose or Paul Krogel. Again, don't know if I'm saying his name right. It still remains a mystery of who was the first car to drive over the bridge. Looks like we have like a little tower that was here at some point. Maybe you could look over and kind of see before things grew up. Guessing this all right here on the other side of the fence is private property. The other side definitely is. There's a huge house over there. All right, so we are going to cross back over, get off the island, head over to the mainland, and head over to Spot 9 and see what we see on Old Winter Beach Road. See if we see any remnants of the old bridge. So what I absolutely love about studying history is you'll be diving into a story, really investigating, and then all of a sudden, out of left field, you're like, wait, what? Well, that moment just happened to us. So when we were headed over this way to the Winter Beach Road, we were in hopes of potentially seeing a part of the bridge or just some kind of remnants like we saw pilings on the other side. And well, we discovered that wasn't going to happen. But we discovered we've actually seen the Tender Bridge multiple times. And you guys have probably seen the bridge as well, and even ridden over the bridge. So y'all know I'm a huge Disney fan, and my favorite park is Magic Kingdom. Well, the Tender Bridge is actually at Magic Kingdom, out of all places. Who would have thought that? When you ride the railroad train, you are actually riding over the Tender Bridge that was here. And that is why I think studying history is so important, because you can be anywhere, like at Magic Kingdom, and you're riding over a piece of old Florida history. Well, our journey has come to an end today, but I hope you guys like this fun exploration that we had today as we went down the Jungle Trail and learned some old Florida history. Well, if you guys like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for some notifications for my next video. And don't forget, lastly, as always, to go out, explore, have fun, and learn. Bye, guys!